Francis has made headlines around the world with his endearing, yet kind of controversial style. In an interview Tuesday with an Italian magazine, the Pope once again defied conventional wisdom by expressing his determination to reject the trappings of the Church and institute serious reform. Professor Patrick Hornbeck chairs the Department of Theology at Fordham University. He joins us this morning. Welcome, Professor. Good
Thanks.
to see you.
It's great to be back.
I have got to ask, do you think the College of Cardinals knew how progressive the Pope was when they selected him? Perhaps maybe they had a deliberate agenda themselves to maybe chart a new course for the Church? What do you think?
Well, I'm not sure we ever know what's in the Cardinals' minds when they're making that decision. But I think that when we get into using labels like traditional or progressive when it comes to this Pope, I think that gets us into a bunch of trouble. This is someone who doesn't fit a lot of the American left-right political spectrum. This is someone who campaigned against war in Syria and at the same time doesn't seem to be moving on something like the ordination of women in the Catholic Church.
So, go ahead.
So it seems like he's really, he's charting his own path. He's following in the footsteps of the man he calls his teacher, his rabbi, Jesus. And because of that, I think it's difficult when we start analyzing this Pope through the lens of our own American politics.
And just when you think you have him figured out, he'll say something else, and then you don't have
That's
him
right. This is the Pope of surprises. The fact that he called this newspaper, this magazine editor in Italy, out of the blue. I mean, can you imagine other popes doing that? This is just a whole new story.
Can you imagine being that reporter getting the call?
That's right.
But having said this, it seems, okay, he's being proactive, he's being aggressive, he's making these phone calls, he's trying to get a message out. Who in the church hierarchy is he challenging?
I think one of the things that's really interesting is that people have expectations about what popes are like, what they wear, how they behave, whether they call newspaper editors on the phone, that sort of thing. And this pope is defying those expectations. So people who are looking for a more traditional style of papacy will probably be disappointed. People who are looking for the Catholic Church to open up to the world, to engage in this sort of dialogue, I think they'll be really excited. I think they are very excited about the steps that this Pope has been taking.
And actually, I've got a couple of quotes, and I'm going to do them a little out of order, so I hope folks can follow me. He said, speaking of heads of the Church, right, he's been critical of other popes as well. He said, heads of the Church have often been narcissists, flattered and thrilled by their courtiers. The court is the leprosy of the papacy. He is calling the papacy itself I won't say into question, but challenging the papacy, would you say?
I don't think he's necessarily talking about popes.
Okay.
He's been pretty solid on respecting his predecessor, Benedict XVI, who, of course, is still alive, something that no previous pope for many years has had to deal with. I think what he's talking about are church leaders at the next level down.
Okay.
People who are in charge of these Vatican congregations, as they call them, or councils, the sort of the agencies, the departments of state in the Vatican. And I think what's interesting is that traditionally these people were like the courtiers around a monarch in the Middle Ages and up through the Reformation period. And I think he's saying that there needs to be a different style with those sorts of people. In the interview, he says the church should become a community at the service of the people of God. And that's very different than thinking about sort of a top-down or a hierarchy. He seems very opposed to hierarchy.
In fact, he said this. He said, the Vatican-centric view neglects the world around us. I do not share this view. I'll do everything I can to change it. So he seems to be talking about the bureaucracy that is very heavy at the top, focuses on the Vatican. How much can he change that?
Well, he's an absolute monarch. He can really, in Catholic canon law, he can do whatever he wants. The question becomes is how far is he going to go?
Right.
And so what we're seeing in Rome this week is he has this meeting of 8 cardinals, this unprecedented group advising him on what to do. And there may be a document that comes out of that shakes things up. Or it may have been more a change in style, which is one of the things I think we see with he wants to change people's attitudes first. And I think some months, some years down the road, there'll be something that follows on from that.
Well, considering how early it is in his papacy, I think we'll be calling on you again, because who knows what else, what other interview you might give in the next 2 weeks.
Thank you so much. That's right.
Professor Hornbeck, thank you so much. Chair of the Department of Theology at Fordham University.